Hi, my name is Sharon and I'm Kathleen's mom.
How old are you?
I'm 64
And where were you born?
in Del Rio, Texas,
And where do you live now?
in San Antonio.
How long have you lived in San Antonio?
We have been back in San Antonio since 1992.
Okay.
And before that, we lived in Tulsa. And before Tulsa, we lived in Dallas.
Okay. How would you describe your childhood?
I had a great childhood. It was fun. Got to do pretty much anything. My dad was military, so we moved around a little bit and lived in North Carolina and Oklahoma, Wichita Falls. So, yeah, I had a great childhood. We had fun. We did a lot of things.
Tell me about who lived in your family with you when you were younger.
Just myself and my mom and my dad. My dad was gone some because he was military and went on TDY and two different deployments, and so he was gone some, but still we had a great time, and it was just mostly my mom and me.
Was anybody else close to you while you were younger besides your mom and dad?
My grandmother, we actually moved back to San Antonio when my dad got deployed to Japan. We actually lived with my grandmother while he was gone. We moved back here. I was real young. It was before elementary because I went my kindergarten and part of my first grade year at Ben Franklin Elementary, which is in San Antonio. And so we just stayed here, and then when he came back from Japan is when we moved to North Carolina.
Gotcha. Were you closer to your mom or to your dad?
To my mom, because my dad being gone as much as he was, I was much closer to her because we did so many things together.
What kinds of things did you do while your dad was gone with your mom?
Oh, we did all kinds of things. I mean, we didn't travel or anything like that because it was just the two of us, but we did things with my grandmother. My aunt and uncle lived in Pleasanton, so we went there real often. They had a farm, and we would go and feed chickens and go out into the cornfield that they had down there, and it was just kind of a fun place to go because you could kind of just roam around on your own because it was such an open place, and so we had a good time. I mean, it was fun, and there was three of them. They had a daughter that was only 10 years older than I was, so she would babysit while we were out there and pretend to be my mother really, and and we would go places with them because of them living in Pleasanton. That was just a place. And we went to Corpus every once in a while and that kind of thing, but we really never went on my mother and I never really truly went on a trip by ourselves. So.
Interesting. Can you think of one really fun memory you remember from your childhood?
Well, not too much. I did break my arm riding a bicycle. It was in between my 5th and 6th grade year. We were back here in San Antonio because my dad was deployed to Vietnam. And so we moved back here for that. And I was in the 5th grade when we moved back here, and I was riding a bike in the neighborhood, and I ran into the back of a parked car and broke my arm. So I remember that vividly because my mom said, can you move it? And I said, of course I can move it. And she said, well, then it's not broken. And the next morning when we got up, it was so swollen up, I had to go to the Wilford Hall, and it was broken. And it was just cracked, not really broken, but they did put a cast on it. And
Wow.
yeah, so that's kind of really a memory that I don't think I'll ever forget. And one of the reasons is because I had to have it casted 3 times because I got it wet twice. Then I fainted once, and while they were putting one of them on, and it was just a fiasco. So that's why that's such a vivid memory.
Did you find something comforting as a child? Anything specific?
I was always felt comforted at my grandmother's house. It was always a place to go and I really don't know why, you just walked in and you just felt like you were at home there.
And she lived here?
She lived here in San Antonio in the city and off of Interstate 10 on Lee Hall. And it was just one of those things that no matter what was going on, you just felt comfortable going to her house. And you could do anything there. I mean, sometimes my cousins were there too because my mom had a sister that lived here in San Antonio, and so we got together with them over there a lot, and it was just, I think that's probably my most comforted place. Other than going to school, I always felt very comfortable at school too.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of my own self there, and I could, do whatever I not wanted, but whatever I needed to do, I could do at school because I felt like that was a place. School really wasn't for learning, it was for having fun.